So I might cover this at the end, actually, but we're considering how we can change a little bit of the format of these nights, or these evenings, or these mornings, or whatever it happens to be in your time zone. But remind me, and I'll come back to that at the end. So pushing right on, Raspberry Pi did address the erratums for the uP23 series of chips. So that's good news. Apparently, they've binned all of the existing older revisions. So hopefully we'll get on top of those hardware problems that have been sort of plaguing that chip. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it probably doesn't matter. If you're at all curious, there's an article here that you can look at and have a look at what what the issues were and what they've done to fix them. So it's really good news. SparkFun ported OpenCV to MicroPython, which was kind of came out of the blue for me. I didn't realize they were looking at this kind of stuff, but they've got a pretty cool robotics platform, the XRP, which you can just see in this image here. But they've got a video on them using their port of OpenCV with MicroPython running on one of these boards, using it to detect stuff with image, like with a camera, and do something with it. In this case, like hook that donut with an arm that they have control over. I don't know why they didn't start with OpenMV. We can make some guesses, but it's good to have another port of an image processing library, and OpenCV is obviously a pretty popular one. They've done a really good job, it seems. Like it's quite a thorough port. They've got quite a lot of methods that they've put bindings for in MicroPython. They're also looking at potentially trying to make this easier to build. It's been built as an extension to MicroPython. Like a C module extension, and it's quite large. It adds about 3 meg of flash space at the moment. Yeah, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, have a look at the video. Yeah, and have a look at the repository, which is available from the links in the YouTube. PyCon AU is only a few weeks away, so for us in Australia, which is getting fewer and fewer as we have more of these meetups, it seems like everyone's going all over the place. So PyCon's this 12th of September, I think it is, so it's coming along pretty quick. There'll be a few MicroPythonistas there. In hardware news, Patrick van Oosterwyk is gathering support for this Mantis, which is a single pair Ethernet board, which I think that technology is becoming really interesting. So this is just using 2 wires for Ethernet. It has a few different names: twin wire Ethernet, a few other things that I can't recall, but it's getting popular in sort of the automotive, not automotive so much, more automation. So like industrial automation environments where having 2 wires instead of RJ45, it's got much less volume and it's easier to wire in. It also has support for power over Ethernet. Sorry, single pair Ethernet has support for power over Ethernet, and the Mantis board here also has some support for that as well. You've kind of got this trade-off with this single pair Ethernet. You can either have short and relatively fast, like 30 meters and 1 gigabit transfer speeds from memory, or you can sort of go for a longer distance up to 1 kilometer at 10 megabit, which is much slower, obviously. But still, those kind of rates are very useful for those sorts of domains. So this board looks really good. Patrick's knows what he's doing. He released the WESP32, which was a popular power over Ethernet, regular power over Ethernet board, and gave great MicroPython support for it as well. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that come out. Adafruit released FruitJam, which is it's a mini computer based around the RP2350. They've gotten all sorts of things in this device, including a Wi-Fi chip. They've got DVI that's powered from the HSTX port of the RP2350, I2S, buttons, LEDs. They've got USB-A running out of a USB hub. Yeah, pretty neat little board. Yeah, I haven't got one, but I'm looking forward to playing with one at some point. About $40 US. And I should also mention that Olimex have a very, very similar board released, I think, just pipped Adafruit, I think. A little bit more industrial looking, but they've got 4 USB ports, same heart, same concept. DVI, HDMI port on the board. Theirs was, I think it was 25 euros. I think I updated this, yeah, which works out a little bit cheaper, about 30 or so US. And I haven't listed all the specs here because ESP32P4 boards are just seeming to flood the market at the moment. Everyone seems to be manufacturing them. Waveshare have got at least 5 that you can buy, from like 10 US to about 50 US, depending on what you want to get with them. The P4 Pico is like a Pico size board with a P4 on it, with MIPI camera and MIPI display ports on it as well. So it's really powerful little board that's quite cheap. Firebeetle's sort of in that same board, that same category as well. And then you've got other ones with sort of displays on them, because the capabilities of the SP32P4 are pretty good for graphics. So the Guition one, for example, they have a module and they've built quite a high resolution display out of it as well. So quick look at some of these. So Waveshare have a few of these kinds of boards, roughly a similar form factor. They offer at least 3 in that sort of form factor, some with like a Wi-Fi chip bolted on, like an ESP32C6, as well as another one with like Ethernet, like RJ45 Ethernet bolted onto the back of it. So if you are looking for an ESP32 board, you are kind of spoiled for choice at the moment. DF Robot have one. And then we've got some with displays like this Guition board. And one I'm really looking forward to is M5 Stack, teasing their new P4 core, which looks pretty nice. So yeah, if you're looking for a powerful, cheap, decent board, which will almost certainly have good MicroPython support, have at it. The Pocket Deck, the device changed this guy's life. This is something he built for himself. I can't remember the guy's name, but yeah, he's got a video on why he built this thing and how it's kind of like a computer that he's built for productivity. Like he just wanted something that wasn't his phone, that was distracting, and just had good support for a limited number of things. And yeah, he's built this really quite unusual and interesting hardware, and all the software is all MicroPython. So you can pre-order one. It's 360 US, which is pretty high, but it's all custom built. So I can sort of cut in some slack. But if you're interested in that kind of device, check it out. Sam Neggs, who we've featured a few times here. Sam likes to write games with MicroPython, but this one, sort of an old school game. It's an old Apple II game or simulator, Robot War. Robot War was an interesting game. Like you had to write code. Like it defined like a programming language that would allow you to control a robot, and the idea was to pit the robot against other robots. And Sam's application like supports the programming language, the old, like it's byte for byte, like opcode compatible with the original. And yeah, it's really well done. He's used Claude Sonnet 4 to help with some of it, and I think he's put that to good use. He's got some comments in his YouTube about how he did that. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, it'll be useful. Plenty of Viper optimization and using multi-threading. It's on a IP2040, I think. Yeah. Bad Apple. So many of you may know the Bad Apple. It's just this animation that's kind of got notoriety on the internet. Avi Manu, I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong, but he decided to try to get working on an 8x8 matrix of LEDs, single color LEDs. And as he said, this was a dumb idea, but got to admire his efforts. I don't know how this will work on Zoom, but you'll get the idea anyway. He's got a video of it, or yeah, a short video of it with the original Bad Apple, and you can see the 8x8 matrix there rendering the same images. I mean, if you blur your eyes enough, sure. the key point here is that's all running MicroPython on uP2040 on Raspberry Pi Pico. 2040 or 2350, can't remember. Probably mentions it. But there's a repository, you can go check out the code. Most of the special sauce here is in how he's actually just processed the images, to be fair. So he's processed the images all the way down to 8x8 monochrome, stored that in a binary file, and he's basically just reading from that file and using that to produce images on the 8x8 display. Quite neat. Kevin McAleer, friend of the meetup, had a great little video on building a Pico drone from start to finish. So go check that out. I believe he's still working on this, but yeah, there's a hour-long video, maybe longer video on Kevin working through some of that. And for some quick bites, we got David had mentioned that at Kiwi PyCon 2025, which is in November this year, there's a couple of MicroPython workshops that are on the tail end of it as a beginner and an advanced session. So if anyone's interested, please take a flight to New Zealand and go check it out. If anyone can help, that'd be great. But even if anyone can help with review material, please reach out. Reach out to me and I'll pass you through to David. David, was there anything else you wanted to mention about that, or is that it? Give you a second and we'll move on.
Yeah, happy to review, but attending, I think, is a bit out of my way.
A little bit far? Yeah, okay. That's fair. It's geographically relatively close for me, but yeah, it's still a bit of a stretch. Just sort of pop that up. Give me a sec. Okay, cool. No worries. Gore Electronics are an Australian mob here that do electronic distribution of electronic parts. They're also pretty supportive of MicroPython. This particular video they've got it's a video and an article about ultra wideband devices that they're selling. Currently they're only using Arduino for it, but these devices are pretty neat. Really accurate resolution using these mmWave devices, and they're starting to become almost affordable. So if that's kind of in your wheelhouse, check that out. The Clockwork PicoCalc is a device that I think we covered a couple of months ago. But those folks who've got the PicoCalc can actually run on a Raspberry Pi Pico or a Pico 2. And so they've done some performance comparisons of the different ports that they supply, and MicroPython comes out pretty well in that. Random Nerd Tutorials, we've featured their articles a few times, but they've got a particularly good one on BLE with MicroPython, where they use the AIO BLE library and they talk about how to use that well. I really like that one. And final thoughts, contributors world map is just something I knocked up with Claude Code's help. But Damien always publishes the time zones of the contributors, and so I thought it'd be nice to get like a world map of that. So it's kind of in line with the group we've got tonight. This kind of shows the various time zones and how many commits for the 126 release came from where in the world. The dots are only very vaguely representative. They're just in the time zone, and I'm not sure how Claude chose to put them in that particular location, but you get the idea. Yeah. There's quite a few
Yeah, I
funny
think
places in Australia, I
translating
don't know.
time zones into a geomap, no.
No, not intended to be accurate, but I thought it was good in the sense that it kind of gives you an insight, and that it's really it's a global effort. There's people all over the place that are contributing to MicroPython, so I think it's really kind of cool.
Yeah, so yes, I did notice it also on earlier releases, and well, I felt appreciated, right? That someone took the effort to say, oh, there were other people involved and they were all about here, right? So I know that takes some effort to splice it out. So yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Appreciate it, Damien. Thanks.
Unrelated to MicroPython, but really fascinating. There was the candle clock. It was a write-up about this that goes into detail about candles flicker in a predictive way. And really fascinating. Like if you've just got one candle, they're actually designed not to flicker, but when you pull multiples together, like in this case, you got three of them together, they flicker in a way that is actually quite predictable. And the science isn't really that like it's predictable, but it doesn't seem like anyone really knows why it happens like this. But in any case, uh, someone measured that, realized it was a very stable pattern, and then used a bare wire here to. I'll let you read out the article, but yeah, basically use that as a clock to uh, flicker their LED. So it's a very convoluted way to do a blinky, but it's very interesting science behind it. And then Midjourney, I was just sort of I asked it to say, hey, show us a world map or diverse people using computers and working on embedded software. But this is the closest I could get. So we got a token duck person and other people. I'm not sure how they're geographically meant to be distant, but anyway, that's what we've got. And that's it for the news for this month. Any questions? Oh, I had to go back.
Yeah,
Right.
your start.
Uh, Back to my start. So the housekeeping. So there's a few things that I've gotten feedback on, and also I'm giving some of the feedback. Like the news roundup is valuable to people, but it's really tough for newcomers. So when we get newcomers coming to the meetup, we go, yeah, come on in and sit down. We're about to give these talks, and 99% of it just completely goes over their head. So that it's not a great experience for people that are coming in and looking to play with MicroPython and get introduced to it. So that's a problem with the way we run things. It's also that these talks take up a bit of time and where people could be working in the CCHS with soldering irons and whatnot. And it's also just the news roundup takes a lot of effort on mine or Sean's or whoever's working on it on our behalf. So um, they're kind of the issues. I'm trying to figure out how best to manage those. And I'd like to get some input, not necessarily now, but for people to have a think about it. We've had one suggestion from Oliver and a couple of guys about perhaps doing a news roundup just every quarter and host it as online. So we wouldn't actually go into the CCHS for that particular month. We would just host it online, give a news roundup, and then the meetups on the other months would just be pure meetups in the space, no talks. Another idea would be just to not have news roundups or talks and just organize to record them straight to YouTube and then have meetups in the CCHS. Perhaps we would also run a stream as well so people could join in and talk about projects. Um, so yeah, and the other thing is that Meetup the service is horrendously expensive, and the PSF grants have that we'd hoped to get have been used up. So that's just another thing that we're dealing with. So anyway, if folks have ideas, thanks, David. I will reach out. Have ideas or comments or things that they would like to continue doing or stop doing or whatever, please. I'm all ears at the moment because yeah, I'd like to make it both better for everyone involved and also take up if we can use less effort, that would be great too. So um, yeah.
So
Anyway, yeah.
yeah, just batting off the top of my head. So
Mm,
yesterday and the day before yesterday, I was at the Linux Open Source Summit in Amsterdam. Paid for my boss because we had a stand there, so I did. But for me, it was to meet up with some other guys, right, doing
saw the
MicroPython.
photo.
So
It's great. Yeah.
sat down with Joshua from France and John from Norway, and part of what I discussed over a beer with John was getting into the MicroPython community is, well, a bit complex, right?
Yeah.
And so what I would say is if we can find a way where, because I really appreciate that I can sit on my part of the world and join in and get that sense of community. I'm still trying to figure out if I can build that locally, because if I look in LinkedIn, there's plenty of people that have MicroPython in their LinkedIn profile, but how do I get them together, or a few of them together in a room to build something like this? So
Yeah.
I really appreciate that if in Australia you want to go off and do your stuff in the hackerspace, and then I'm just getting in the way. Okay, cut me out. but I would be if I it would feel cut off for me, right? Because for me this brings value. So I would like to find something where, yes, well, perhaps newcomers or where I can. One of the things that came up in a conversation with John was, okay, so for the next version, right? So yes, I found the milestones, right? Right. John said, okay, yeah, he knew about it, but it was not documented anywhere, right? So Damien just said, okay, this is where we do that. So it would be helpful if I think people would say if it would be known, okay, this is the direction that we're going in for the next few releases, no promises, but if you want to help out, these are the areas where we think you could help out best, right? Rather than creating a PR that then well isn't relevant or would take too much time to review for a next session, right? And that's kind of intermediate rather than but I think if we could create even bi-monthly or quarterly sessions that help people get on and get in helping, that would be something that I think, right, I would love to contribute to that. I would also love to participate in that.
So you're saying more about development side of things rather than like new people coming on board and teaching them.
Well, I think there's steps, right? So first I need to, because, well, yes, I sat next to Jan writing C code, right? But that's not my gig anymore, right? If I can help out doing, let's say, maintenance on the Python part, right? Like I'm contributing to NP Remote or doing the docs or doing reviews on questions, right? Uh, or MicroPython lib, right? Because that needs a bit more love as well, right? So I think if we can say, okay, these are areas where we want extra help, and then I think some people, right, anyone can read documentation and say, hey, this is not proper English, right? Yes, we can use Gemini for that, but people probably are better even. So yeah, and I
Yeah,
think for me that's rolling into from getting to know it to helping out, right? Because the community is, well, not just people listening in.
that's true. Yes. Yes, but I think it sounds like what you're asking for is more of a like a developers call or a developers town hall meeting or something like that, where
Oh,
it could be more directed towards, yeah, like you say, this release is coming up and these are the things we're focusing on. Because there's currently no way to talk or discuss that.
yeah.
I think GitHub's probably not. I mean, we can use an issue and discussions, but I think it's better suited. It's better suited to probably a call like this where we actually discuss. Because
Yeah, we could use Discord for that, Damien.
yeah,
That
I
would
mean,
work.
Discord is yeah. It's also I think it's
Yes, I
better.
think PyScript also runs different types of calls, right? They run them at a pretty high frequency, but they have, let's say, okay, so you want to learn something about, or you want to contribute, right? Or a technical call, right? So I think so perhaps that's an option, right?
Yeah, I mean, but from my side, it's yeah, finding the time to do this, and then
Oh, yeah, I
but,
get that.
yeah, I mean, it would be yeah. Maybe we can set up a something a call where for development where we can discuss development. So people like yourself and Robert, whoever else wants to join, and we can just see what happens and even just discuss this. The only thing I need to make sure it doesn't. If we can't do it once a week because that's too much of my time. We
Oh
can't
no,
once a month. You know, could be
right.
possible.
Even if it's on the beginning and end of a release, right? So then right, once every 3 months is probably doable, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have thought about this in the past to have a this kind of a call, a town hall discussion about, but more on the development side. So maybe I should think about how to do that. Yes. Um, if yeah, we just need to find a time because
Oh,
like if
it was like I said, it just the top of my head based on some conversations I had over a beer, right? So
yeah, yeah,
just
but I appreciate your point that where you said You know, there's no point in you making a pull request for some feature which is not really in the direction that we want to go in. But at the same time, how do you, like, what's the right place to ask what is the right direction?
Right, and now it's sometimes a bit reading between the lines, right? Oh, these type of PRs sit for a long time, so no, let's not do that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yes, the PRs that sit for a long time are the ones that are hard to review.
Oh,
that's
and
the
limitation that there's only 24 hours in a day. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it depends on the type. Well, sorry, I can't stick around too much longer. This time is a bit difficult for me to be here too long. So it would be good to. I will think about and try and commit to having another meeting like this where we can discuss. We can discuss. I'll put something in Discord and we can work out a time. And even if we just discuss what we want to do, if we even want to do it, that's fine. But I'm sure there'll be lots of technical things we could discuss.
Okay.
Discord.
Stuart, yeah, I'm not really thinking of stopping the meetups. I'm just not sure. Just trying, yeah, figure out what works. Like I wouldn't want to stop like the Zoom calls, get everyone involved. It just might need to be a bit more inclusive, because like a lot of the stuff we talk about in the news roundup, it's really hard to watch newbies come into the place and they're all excited about trying all this hardware, and then their eyes just glaze over when we start talking about the details, which are really important to a lot of the community. So it's just about sort of finding that right balance, I think. Yeah. This kind of grew, right? Like we had a meetup just in Melbourne, and the community was sort of getting bigger, and we thought we'd host it online, and then we thought we'd do a news roundup, and then we thought we'd do this. And I think it's probably a good time to sort of sit back and take a step back and think about what's working and what's not. So yeah, it's not just about the effort, it's about sort of making sure the effort's like getting good bang for buck. Cool. Well, like we probably should wrap up and let people go if they've got to go. But please reach out to me. I'm very easy to get a hold of on Discord or on email. You'll be able to find me pretty easily. If not, you will be able to find me somehow. So that'd be good to get any feedback. Otherwise, we'll perhaps call it there, and then I'll be hanging on here because I think I want to talk to Oliver about making a thermal printer work, perhaps. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for the news roundup. That's great.
Pleasure.
I've got to head off. Good to see everyone. And like I said, on Discord, we'll see if we can work something out.
Thanks for putting that presentation together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers, Damien.
See you, everyone else.